to Buckets, brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sports books. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. Joined tonight by Andrew O'Connor Watts from the Action Network. You can find him on Twitter and in the Action Network app. Andrew O'Connor Watts, AOC. What's your handle on that?
AO Watts 13.
AO Watts. I gotta not say AOC. It's AOW. That AOW. Also joining me, he got back from Las Vegas where he and I had a delightful meal together this weekend. Jay Money, who enjoyed the IST in-season tournament. Jay, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Got to play based off the in-season tournament as well. So let's get to it.
All right. This is going to do your best bets for Tuesday in the National Basketball Association. The slate, we will warn you, is ugly. Let's see here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 games. And of those 5 games, it's looking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half of the teams are on a back-to-back tomorrow night. So we'll see what we find for best bets. We'll go around the table. We'll list those off. Reminder, everything we talk about, you can find it in the Action Network app. You can find all sorts of cool stuff in there. Our pro signals are really good for being able to tell not only where the money's coming in, because you can find that in various places, but we've also got signals to tell you, oh, this bet came in and then the line moved in this direction. And that is able to kind of give you an indication of where the sharp money is moving. We've also got like stuff for like weather reports for NFL, and you can catch all of our stuff as well as all of our podcasts, like the Big Bets on Campus bowl extravaganza. I was searching for the word bowl. I just could not. It was escaping me. You can find that in there. You can also find that on our YouTube page. Go to youtube.com/the Action Network, and you can check out all of our great podcasts, live shows, etc. at youtube.com/the Action Network. All right, enough fucking around. Let's get to best bets for the Tuesday slate. Andrew O'Connor Watts, what's your best bet for Tuesday?
I'm on the Bulls plus 8.5.
All right, Jay, what's your best bet for Tuesday?
Take the Mavs in the first half.
Okay. I am with Andrew O'Connor Watts on the Bulls plus 8.5 versus the Denver Nuggets. I am also going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the over in Warriors Suns. We're going to go with that one as well. Over 232.5 in that one. Those are my 2 best bets for Tuesday. Let's start with Jay. So Jay, the Mavericks get by the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday night. Luka plays a shit ton of minutes because he loves beating the hell out of that team. We told you about that on the Monday show. Best bets did pretty well. We're recording this late-ish on Monday night, so I don't know if Nets are going to be able to catch that 5.5 that we gave out. But other than that, we did pretty well, except for the Minnesota Timberwolves, which I had to be talked into, and then was like, oh yeah, this is obvious. And of course it was too obvious. And of course the Pels won because they're assholes. But anyway, the Mavericks got the win versus the Memphis Grizzlies, and now they're at home. So it's a back-to-back at home, taking on the Los Angeles Lakers, who are on multiple days rest. Probably not resting, though, given that they did play in Vegas. I assume that's one of the reasons why they like the Dallas Mavericks in the first half, Jay.
Yeah, I want to tell you, like it's unfair that it's set up to where the Mavs are on the back-to-back here, unfortunately. But I gotta find some type of way to fade the Lakers. I mean, I was out with a couple of the players as well, not like physically with them like I know them, but I seen them leave at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and let's just say that they weren't going to sleep when I saw them leave. Let's just put it that way. So I just gotta. I mean, they're basically you're coming off of a champ. They celebrated like they won a championship. I gotta find some type of way to fade them, man. I wanted to take the under here. I think that the Lakers can still play some defense, but I think their shots will be falling, especially early. But I look at the Mavs, and their last 4 games have been going over. So and they can both these teams can kind of push the pace here. But I still heavily lean to the under. But I want to find some type of way to fade the Lakers here. And with the Mavs and Luka playing so many minutes, I'll go the first half route as opposed to full game. And last time in LA as well, they came out there blasting them to start the game. That did have Kyrie, but they were up like 20 and they almost lost the game, full game. But this is just one where I think the Lakers going to take a little time, even though they had days off, going to take a little time to shake the liquor off, man. I feel like they celebrate a little too hard, man. It's basically like winning a championship in season and you still have games to play a few days later. So that's my angle on it. I didn't love the card, but instinctively, I did know that some type of way I had to find a way to fade the Lakers. So I'll take the Mavs in the first half, a small play for me.
All right, so AD's questionable, as he is almost every game with that left adductor, the hip spasm, and
Oh,
LeBron's questionable with the left
he got
calf.
injured.
Yeah, he
AD
got
got
banged
injured
up in
too. I
that.
saw that. I saw
He got
that.
banged up in the IST finale. Rui's going to play. LeBron is questionable. He's questionable every game. Vando's questionable. He's been questionable every game. I will ask you this. Isn't the bigger concern here that the Mavs might rest guys, given kind of where this game is at? Like, doesn't this seem like a spot where I know it's a
The
back-to-back
TNT
at
game.
home and it's the Lakers,
The,
but are you worried? Don't you want to see the injury report before you go in on it?
I mean, I hadn't bet it yet. You can't bet first halves overnight,
Sure.
unless you got it's like one book. So that's the play that I'm liking the most. I'll be honest, I didn't bet it yet, but obviously if Luka pops up, I don't see it happening. First off, this is a TNT game. Kyrie's probably already out, and they had guys out tonight. Tim Hardaway Jr., Grant Williams were out tonight, so I'm expecting these guys to come back in. I don't see Luka sitting this game out. I mean, it's not a 3rd and 4. You know what I'm saying? They just had 2 days off prior to this, so that's why it makes it a little bit better, in my opinion. But TNT game at the house versus the in-season tournament champions. They're hanging the banner. I think the Mavs come to play in this game. Like I said, I'd love to have Kyrie out there, but the fact that he's out, we probably should still get Luka in there. And I'm hoping that Grant Williams and Tim Hardaway Jr. come back in this one. So yeah, I hope that they don't rest anybody, but this is more of a spot against the Lakers here. And if AD doesn't play, they're cooked. And I would look towards Hachimura under his props as well. And Christian Wood.
And Christian Wood. Okay. All right. So, Andrew, you like the Bulls plus 8.5. The Nuggets get it done versus the Hawks on the road. This is a tough back-to-back going to Chicago. Chicago goes to overtime versus the Milwaukee Bucks, eventually losing. Did cover, though. Once again, Adrian Griffin, great for us to fade versus those division opponents. Really appreciate him coming through for us on the best bets on that package as well. I can go ahead and talk a little bit about why I like this game. So for starters, like I have this actually projected as like Bulls home court has been pretty wild. So I have this predicted at a pretty nuts number. If we actually look at it just from a standard, how the average the league average home court advantage, I have this Bulls plus 3.5. Now I'm probably going to bump the Nuggets up because they got themselves a little bit right versus the Hawks. Like Nikola Jokic made shots and Aaron Gordon looked better. Like they looked much better in this game than they did in the last time that they played in that disappointing loss. That said, this is a back-to-back spot. Jamal Murray injured his ankle. Went ahead and played, but I bet they rest him tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Gordon rests. Wouldn't be Jokic will play because there's a huge Serbian population in Chicago. There's a little bit of controversy going on with Jokic and some political stuff in Serbia that, like, to be perfectly honest, like I can't explain to you because I'm not an expert on Serbian culture, but I am kind of curious what the reception is going to be tomorrow for him. But then on top of all this is really just the fact of I don't like this matchup for them. The Bulls are playing pretty carefree, even though they lost tonight. Like they're playing pretty carefree. They kind of know, like, all right, this team's probably not going to be together, and that's a problem. One of the things that actually is really interesting is the Nuggets are amongst 5 teams that I looked at that if you average fewer assists than they do, you do extremely well against them. So the Nuggets, when they're facing a team that the opponent averages fewer turnovers than they do, they've been really rough in that regard. The ATS margin has been really high. That's a very good way for you to be able to hang with the Nuggets. And on a back-to-back, this is just too many points. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab the 8.5 of Chicago. Why do you like the Bulls here in the spot?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit of a better number. I don't know if things have really caught up since Zach LaVine's gone down. Their offense and defense has looked completely different with him out of the lineup. There's basically a 5-point swing on either end in terms of offensive and defensive efficiency with him not playing. So as good of an offensive player as he is, he kind of sticks that offense. Like the offense gets a little sticky when he's in the lineup, frees up guys like Coby White, who went crazy tonight. I don't love Ayo Dosunmu getting 26 minutes and dropping a 0-0, but I just think that they're playing so much better now, and they're actually also a lot better at home. So getting 8.5 with both teams on a back-to-back. Don't love OT, but with both teams off a back-to-back, 8.5 at home is I'm gonna have to take that most times. I mean, obviously the Bulls have been embarrassing to say the least up until now, but yeah, I just think they're a different team with Levine. They're playing with a renewed like sense of purpose almost, it feels like. Also the Nuggets as road favorites, not a great spot for them.
Nope.
Yeah, so fading them this year, 8-2. I think I mentioned it last time I was on. But yeah, 8-2, fading them this year for 53% ROI. Since last season, 24-11 for 31% ROI. So just a good spot for the Bulls at home.
Like it. I want to bet the Suns in the late game. I really want to grab them, but unfortunately my model only makes this one, and so I can't get there. The Suns in that game versus the Golden State Warriors are 3-point favorites. Warriors are going to have Chris Paul back. It's only Gary Payton II that's out for the Warriors, so they've got a full complement. Kevin Durant's questionable. We'll see if he's able to go. I will say the Warriors just played the Thunder. And teams after and it's been a couple days, but teams after they play the Thunder this season, if you listen to Buckets last year, you know this was my favorite trend. Was I just started fading after teams after they played OKC, and there's actually teams that are better than that, and I'll be writing about that soon on Action Network and the app. But it's still been true this year. Games after you play OKC, teams are 8-12 against the spread. So they've been really bad after playing OKC. So that kind of makes me want to grab it, but my model says otherwise. I am going to play the over though, but because I do project this at 240 versus a 232.5. And speaking of the Thunder and playing them after teams have played the Thunder, their defense gets worn down, more tired. They give up a high number of points. Games are 13-7 to the over. That's 65% this season for teams after they play OKC. And some of that's noise. That's only like 20 games, right? But it's enough of a trend for me to go ahead and get in on the over in Warriors Suns, which I expect to be a little bit more fast paced. I don't like OKC I don't like Golden State or Phoenix's defense, to be perfectly honest with you, especially on the road for the Warriors. So I'll take the over with the Warriors and the Suns. You got thoughts on that one, Andrew?
Yeah, I definitely lean to the Suns. My model actually makes this a pretty, like, there's actually a lot of value on the Suns based on my projections. But I wasn't sure about Bradley Beal if he's coming back. It always gets weird. Kind of
for sure.
Yeah. So like
Beal is in for sure.
He is in for sure. Okay. So, you know, incorporating a new guy first game, it's always a little wonky. I probably will end up playing the Suns, but just as of now, I haven't. I do like that trend though. You said it's kind of noisy, but I feel like these team-based trends are a little less noisy because there can be such a personality to how teams play, right?
That's so true. Yeah.
I feel like when you look at obviously if you're putting a million, one of the things you mentioned, the Action Network, the Action App Pro version, you can create systems and plug in all these like different factors. One of the things you can do, like if you go crazy plugging in like, it's a Wednesday, like yesterday they had, KFC and today, whatever. Like obviously you can make it noisy, but with things like, all right, they played the Thunder and, there's a theory behind that.
Yeah.
Maybe what seems like a very specific trend.
The trends I hate are like the Pacers have beaten the Wolves in 13 of their last 15 matchups. And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't care what Paul George did I don't care when it was Tom Thibodeau and Jimmy Butler's Wolves. Like, I don't care. Like, I want trends that have some sort of like real relevancy in the moment. And a lot of this for me is knowing what teams take out of you or don't, I think is actually the logic to use there. Before we wrap up, I do want to go back to Lakers Mavericks real quickly. This is not a reason to not follow Jay here at all, but was a trend early in the season that we talked a lot about how the Lakers lost, I think, their first 9 first half covers. They were like 0-9 ATS to start. However, that's turned around as they've gotten healthier. The Lakers are 7-3 first half ATS in their last 10. That's via evanalytics.com. Mavericks, I think, are middle of the pack in that category. Yeah, they're 5-5 in the last 10 and pretty good overall. So that's less of a comment of don't follow Jay on that one, and more just like if you're somebody that has paid attention to those trends and you're like, ooh, and I could take the Lakers because the Lakers are not good in the first half. They've corrected. But that, like said, I'm kind of with Jay on this, where I think it's a very weird letdown spot. Like this is has to be like the weirdest letdown spot that we're gonna get till next year, right?
That's a fact. And if AD doesn't play, they're getting smoked.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that right now. They're getting absolutely smoked. I'm not trying, but look at Hatchamore and Wood props. They had some fun in Vegas after that. I know for sure, my guys. They had some fun in Vegas. They might still be sleeping right now. You know what I'm saying? But this was just a spot that I looked at. I said, fade whoever wins in their first game back. It's really that simple.
Well, we'll see if they can get hydrated for this game. We'll have best bets for you tomorrow on Wednesday with Sean, Jay, and AC, and then on Thursday we'll be back with the same crew, and then on Friday, of course, I'll have Sean Little, and we'll talk a little bit about NBA futures. Great episode yesterday on NBA futures with the Future Jays, by the way. If you haven't checked it out in the feed, go listen to that. My thanks to David Payne, our producer, as well as Hutton Jackson, the video crew, getting this up over at Action Network's YouTube page, youtube.com/The Action Network. My thanks to Jay Money and Andrew O'Connor Watts. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Till then, let's get buckets.